And we're going to have a very serious dialogue. And what I would love to do is just have a couple of moments with you. Jovan, thank you so much on TikTok. God bless you. Desiree Hines, Vonda, thank you for allowing me just a little bit of your time. TikTok, you guys don't play. TikTok be on here real fast. There are people coming on Facebook and people coming on YouTube. Elder Stefanetta, how's Dad? Thank you so very much. I just want to have a little bit of your time. Vonda saying hi on TikTok. Hey, baby. God bless you to all of you who are coming in. All right, here y'all come. So I want to have a dialogue with you. I thank you for just giving me a little bit of your time yet again. And even though we all are disturbed about what we have witnessed coming from the seat of the free world, it just really reveals the heart of man. But that's not what I want to speak to you about. I want to ask y'all a question. How many of you live in a world of people? So it's like, what kind of question is that? A valid question. How many people are living in a world full of people? Everybody. It means that you're not isolated. It means that you're not living in this life alone. And even though I am a pastor and I am a person that the Lord has given gifts, the gift of sight to, I want to have a dialogue from a place of humanity, present. I want to speak to you about something. And this happens to everybody. Y'all ready? All right. May have to replay this. What is trauma?
According to American Psychological Association, any disturbing experience that results in significant fear, helplessness, dissociation, confusion, or other disruptive feelings intense enough to have a long.
Did you hear that? Let me do it again. I'm going to do it again in a minute. I want to talk to you about trauma. Trauma is a very dangerous thing. Trauma is very crippling. Trauma holds you hostage. I'm wiping my eyes because I have on my moisturizer. And sometimes my moisturizer gets in my eyes. I'm not crying. Trauma is a very crippling thing. Trauma has happened to everybody. And if you say that you have never experienced trauma, you're lying. Because everyone has experienced trauma. I don't care who you are. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what you are going through. But it is very dangerous. Because trauma can stop you from protecting yourself. Trauma can cripple you and keep you from defending yourself. It is a very crippling experience when you go through a traumatic experience. It will even have you block out certain things. And when you get into different situations, you could be triggered by your trauma and sabotage some very good relationships. But you could also be triggered by your trauma and never stand up in any relationship. It is very diabolical. Do you know that you could have friendship trauma? You could have trauma from a childhood that will show up in your adulthood. You could have trauma cripple you to the point where you cannot move forward because of fear. That's why everyone needs to go to therapy. You could also have church trauma. In fact, let's do that. I want everyone to put up the levels of trauma. Now, somebody said church trauma. I don't know what church you've been through. That sounds like a cult. Because a cult, you can't get thrown out. You can never get thrown out of a cult. They will never let you leave. So I don't know what kind of church trauma, but there is church trauma. That means that you've gone to a organization and you were controlled. And then you get out and you find this liberation, and now you feel like you've been living in sin because they controlled what you wear, how you did your hair, what you did, everything. And sometimes people use the book to do it. So that's a problem. Dating trauma. Someone said dating trauma, dating trauma. Dating trauma is anything associated to your dating life that says, never mind, I'm taking dating off the board because I'm doing everything to find someone, but yet and still I'm having a traumatic experience in dating. I'm going to talk about that for a moment. Someone said, I thank you for finding UCI. I am honored to serve. Abuse is trauma. Death trauma is grief. Traumatic of death means you're grieving to the point where you can't move forward. Family trauma. Let me help y'all. Instead of listing all of these traumas, how about you get to the root cause of your trauma? There was a root cause or something that caused a very traumatic situation that hinders your maturity in the areas. Post-traumatic stress, most people who've been in the service or in the military, they have post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. There are people who are jealous of you because of trauma. There are people who want to hurt you because it's trauma. That means people who try to destroy you, they try to destroy something that they don't understand. In a relationship, you have childhood trauma. That now you're trying to have a relationship, but because something arrested your development, you don't know how to deal. So you can't heal because you're not ready to face your trauma. I was talking to my daughter a couple of moments ago. We were having a hard conversation. And I want you to write this down. You must have hard conversations for healthy connections. I'm going to say it again. You have to have hard conversations for very healthy connections. I'm going to say this one more time. You have to have hard conversations for healthy connections. And sometimes you can't have a healthy conversation to make a healthy connection. It's because you don't want to face your fears because of trauma. You have to get to the root cause of the trauma. There are people who don't realize that they're dealing with trauma. And that's why it's very hard to have healthy conversations. I'm telling the truth. I don't want to deal with that. You don't want to deal with that? Why? Because what trauma does, it will hinder you from standing up to somebody or something that makes you feel uncomfortable. Because what trauma does, it arrests the development necessary to deal with the situation. Some of your friendships are one-sided because of trauma. Now, I'm going to tell you my truth. My birthday is June 18th, right? I'm not crying. Remember, I got on my moisturizer because I got my nighttime regimen on. And because my birthday, I have something called birthday trauma. Birthday trauma is a very real thing. It means around the time of my birthday, I get very somber. I hate it because of the traumatic situation I had during my birthday. My sister's birthday is May 28th. My birthday is June 18th. In fact, I have two birthdays, June 18th and June 19th, because my family always said my birthday was June 19th. But then when I got divorced and I got my birth certificate, I said, wait a minute, my birthday is June 18th. But nonetheless, my sister had this big celebration, and it was the biggest birthday party at 450 Clinton Avenue. And my father, he would hide. $20 was a lot of money. He would take $20, and we had a lot of books in our house. My father was very big on reading. Remember, my father was a savant. He spoke several languages without even studying. And so my father even would speak Yiddish. And so in these books we had encyclopedias, and he would hide money in the books, and whatever number he called out, you would run to the number, you would open it, and it would be money there. He went to Mrs. Maxwell's Bakery. I'm talking the language for those that are from Brooklyn, New York, or on Atlantic Avenue. He would go to Mrs. Maxwell Bakery, and he would buy this big old cake, and then he would go to Cherry Blossom next door, and he would get all of this stuff, and then across the street was White Castle, and then the other street, it was KFC, and we got in a car, and he got all this stuff for my sister's birthday. So when he got all this stuff for her birthday, we had this huge celebration, and he put this pink tiara on her head, and then he had this beautiful dress. It was pink, and it was velvet pink at the top, and it was a tutu at the bottom. And we had this wonderful celebration. Someone say, yes, that's the best bakery. Okay, Lisa Bradley, then you're from Brooklyn, right? So we had, I mean, it was amazing. It was the best birthday ever. And then when it's time to celebrate me, June 18th, I went into the room and I was like, Dad, Dad, Dad. And he rolled over. There was no cake. There was no candles. There was no happy birthday. There was nothing. So it was a very traumatic experience because he took away something because I had an expectation. Now the problem, someone said, it's a big apartment building now. Right. So what happened was there's traumatic experiences that has followed me from a kid to an adult. So I have a very hard time receiving celebration. So what I decided to do is I said, nah, forget that. I took the foolishness and I turned it into fuel. I learned to celebrate myself because there was an expectation that I had because he showed that to someone else. So the problem with people is because of the trauma, it put a pause on praise. It put a pause on me celebrating myself. But what I did is I took the power of celebration and I put it in someone else's hands. So I had to stop it and said, I celebrate myself. If don't nobody else celebrate me, I will celebrate myself. I deactivated the power of trauma by celebrating myself. There are people who have birthday trauma, holiday trauma. It is the worst. Valentine's Day is coming up right now. And Valentine's Day is a very traumatic experience for somebody. I promise you that. Sometimes you've got to get to the point where you realize that in your life, you got to do two things. You have to celebrate yourself or look at everybody around you that don't feel you're worthy to be celebrated. Now, I'm going to say something. You got to be very careful about the people around you because everyone has experienced trauma. And if you have an expectation that someone is going to value you, then maybe there is a bigger problem than you expected because of your expectations. They are dealing with trauma too, just like you. It's true. There are people who are emotionally unavailable because they don't know that they are dealing with trauma too. So I can't have an expectation that you know how to do something because you too have a level of arrested development. So when you have a connection with someone, whether it is on friendship level or relationship level or whatever level it is, you get disappointed because you have an expectation that they know how to do something and they don't know how to do something because they deal with trauma too. Stop having an expectation on people without the understanding as to the reason why they are so emotionally unavailable for you. Because you got in a relationship with someone and you had an expectation that they know how to love you. They don't. You're friends with someone, but you have an expectation that they know how to be a friend. No, you're the better friend. You have to pull back your expectation by watching how they handle themselves, let alone somebody else. Because selfishness is dangerous when you have given somebody the good measures of your heart. You have given so much to people, and they have not given you anything because they too are dealing with trauma. Empathy and sympathy is a foreign language. So you have an expectation they're going to applaud you. You have an expectation they're going to celebrate you. You have an expectation they're going to be a good husband. You have an expectation they're going to be a good wife. You have whatever it is in your life, you have an expectation without realizing they're dealing with trauma. So you cannot be disappointed over something you don't have knowledge of because you don't know they have trauma. But we feel like they should know. No, everybody don't know. Because the arrested development of trauma is the blockage. The Bible said to cast not thy pearls before swine. Cast not thy pearls before swine. So when you are a valuable person, because you're a valuable person, right? You're valuable. And when you're valuable, you have worth, you have character. You will knock yourself out for somebody else and they will not do the same thing for you. Why? Because you got trauma. You know how it feels to be left out. You know what it feels like to not be celebrated. You know what it feels like to not be appreciated because of your trauma. You know what it feels like to be lonely on Valentine's Day. You know what it feels like. What do the lonely do at Christmas? You know what all of that feels like. So because your trauma is feeding their failures, your trauma is feeding, hold on, let me say it like this. You are doing something that is detrimental to your growth. You are casting your pearls before swine. Because I don't want them to feel the way I feel, I work harder. But they ain't think about you because they got trauma too. We live in a world and a society of broken people, breaking people, but damaged people will destroy you. They have trauma. So you have to pull back your expectations. Watch this, because you're going to get hurt. Because you feel, watch this, they should know. Everybody don't know. Marriage is a collision of two histories. That means you got two histories coming together to try to make something work. You are in a relationship with somebody that's dealing with trauma. Someone said this is on time. You are in a relationship with somebody right now that does not know how to love you. You're in a relationship with somebody right now that is emotionally unavailable. You are in a relationship, a friendship with somebody that doesn't know how to be a good friend. You are in a relationship with somebody that is damaged. People who are jealous, they're dealing with trauma. People, someone said, but they talk good. They talk a good game. Carla said they talk a good game. Right. But you're listening to the talk. You're not watching the actions. Some of you, you're not watching as well as praying. And you become the prey. You're not watching as well as praying, so you become the prey. Everybody that's in your space right now, I want you to say they, as well as yourself, have unhealed trauma. They have unhealed trauma. That's why love is patient. Do you love them enough to be patient with them? And do they love you enough to be patient with you? There are people who will be patient with you, but there are some people you can't be patient with them. When you're in a one-sided relationship of any kind, watch how they handle you during bad times. And they just pass or fail the test. Because what you saw is during the hardest season of your life, they showed you who they were because of their trauma. I don't know how to be there for you. I want to be there for you. Okay, why y'all crying? Am I saying something to make people cry? All right, I guess I am. You all right over there? You too? They want to be there for you. They would love to be there for you. So your feeling gets hurt because you have an expectation without understanding their trauma. So you get hurt. That's why you got to have hard conversations to see if this is a healthy connection. I got friends. I've my girlfriend Corinne and I, we've been friends since the third grade. I'm not kidding. Since the third grade. We've been friends since the third grade. I've got friends that I have been friends with for over 30, 40 years, 50 years. I know how to be a friend. But some of you are a better friend to other people than they are to you. So you got to sit back and you got to have a conversation. You got to be like, look, I want to know why is it that I'm always there for you, but yet you will never be there for me. And then once they reveal the trauma, how will you handle moving forward? Someone said, you just dropped the whole mic. Someone said, you are so knowledgeable. I am honored to serve. As a prophetess, the Lord has given me wisdom. That's all you see. It's God's gifts, not mine. Thank you. You want to know, how come you can't be a good man? How come you can't be a good woman? Why can't you be good to me? How come you keep using me and abusing me? Because of trauma. It's not an excuse. Trauma it will arrest your development. It puts a pause in the area where you should have been learned. But what do you do when you're raised by a parent that is unlearned? What do you do when a person that you're loving or the person that you're with has not developed because of an unhealthy environment? It's trauma. What do you do when someone has been assaulted in any way and you're trying to hug them and they're jumping? It's trauma. That last relationship was very traumatic for you. So if you don't heal, when someone that comes around that really wants to love you because of unhealed trauma, you'll sabotage it. But even if they're a good person and you go get therapy and you come together, remember, be a better whole so you could be a better half. And even if it's not on the confines of being in a relationship, whatever relationship or connection requires you to get the understanding of the trauma. And so even though you heal in one area, somebody might heal in one area but still be broken in another. It's still trauma. What do you do when you are in a relationship with someone that had a mother that didn't know how to hug? A mother that didn't know how to love her or love him? What do you do when you have a father that has abandoned you? You don't know how to be a man, let alone see your mother be loved by. It's just, we're broken people in a world full of trauma. One thing that I'm going to say this that you're never going to hear anyone say. The hardest people to heal is a narcissist. The hardest people to heal and have relationships with is a narcissist because they will never go to therapy. They just switch partners. But if you want to be healed and you have trauma, you will be in therapy and let them trigger your trauma. Why? So you can face them. I'm speaking to you from the perspective that I had 8 years of therapy. Everybody in my life, I send to therapy. I send them to two places, the altar and therapy. There are people right now who know what sympathy and empathy is. If you've never grown up in an environment where there is sympathy or empathy, you don't know what you're dealing with. And that's why people become cold, because I can't give you what I've never had. So you are in a relationship. Someone said, worst mistake I ever made. Hold on, BCJ, 1973. So what happened is you're in this consistent fight with friends. You're in a consistent fight with a male or female. You're in a consistent fight with people who do not understand passion, because we ain't hugging my house. What are you talking about? It's trauma. So now you're upset because you're trying to force someone to love you that doesn't understand what it is. Hug. I never hugged you a day in my life. So you have an expectation. Come on, let's hug. Come on, oh, cakes and pies. Oh, we're going to unicorns and leprechauns and glitter. And they're looking at you like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about. So now you're hurt because you don't understand. It's a rubric. This is a rubric. What? It's because I don't understand. This is normal. For you, it is. But for me, nah, I don't know nothing about that. So now y'all are at a fisticuff because of trauma. They don't feel nothing. In his household, showing you that he love you mean I'm going to work. In his household, it means showing you that I love you mean I'm going to work. I don't know nothing about that. My father told me to go to work. Okay, but let's be romantic. Let's be romantic. Romance. I don't know nothing about no romance. But I love you. Yeah, I love you too. But I got to go to work. And now you crying and you upset because you want him to show you romance. My father never been with no, I ain't never seen my father buy no chick, no flowers. My mother's, he was an abuser. I don't know. So there was a development that was arrested because of trauma. So now you get in a relationship and you're like, yo, what's going on? That's why the Bible said, with all thy getting, get an understanding. And a lot of you don't have an understanding that you're connected to somebody that have trauma. Somebody said, it's a red flag. Yeah, it's a red flag. But if they love you, they'll fix it. There's some people that don't know nothing about celebrating you. Let me tell you this. I'm going to give you this, and I promise you I'm going to help somebody today. Then I'm going back to bed. I'm going to shut my door, and I'm going back to bed. I have to say this to you because you really don't understand. I like to use the word understand because a lot of people don't. A person who is unhappy can never be happy for you because of the trauma. I don't see nothing but misery. So how do I be happy for you? Because if I call my mother, she miserable. So I'm fueling the trauma. If I call my father, so the trauma that they're dealing with as a child is still being fueled as an adult. So now I get with your happy tale, and I'm like, I don't understand. How can this happen for her, but it's not happening for me? So because I'm miserable, I can't celebrate your victory. Bars. This trauma thing, people, that's why I told you, I am the pastor to tell you to have a Bible in one hand and a good psychiatrist in another. Trauma is something that a lot of people do not understand. It will hurt you if it is not revealed and dealt with. They will not celebrate you because they don't know how. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing. My daughter's birthday coming up, February 21st. Her birthday is February 21st. So in a couple of weeks. I'll make sure that my daughter and my son is in July, they are celebrated. I go hard. The bishop, oh, I go hard. For my friend's birthday, oh, I go hard. The reason why I do that, because I know how it feels not to be celebrated. I knew how it made me feel. So I make sure whether they're in relationship, Monica, it's your birthday today. Happy birthday, girlfriend. Happy birthday. Everybody say happy birthday to Monica on TikTok. Because, oh, your birthday was February 20th. Gorgeous butterfly. My daughter's is on the 21st. So what happened is, because I know how it feels not to be celebrated, I make sure they never feel that way, ever. My whole family can't talk to what? So look around you. Someone said, this is good. Nisha, bless you. Look around you. I need you to take inventory of your connections because I've never really been celebrated for my birthday, Valentine's Day, or Mother's Day. I'm glad you said that. Matter of fact, let's do that. Can we do that? All right, let's do that. How many people have never been celebrated for their birthday, Mother's Day, or holiday? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Cheryl Walker said, I'm going hard for my birthday this year, I promise. Okay. The people are saying me. They're going up and down the timeline. Your birthday is February 19th. Okay, come on, DJ R. Thompson. I have it. Okay. See, there's a lot of us like this, that you've never celebrated a birthday or holiday. And this is why I say, buy the cookie and eat the cake and do something to celebrate. Because you are so busy doing things for other people until you forget to do something for you. Now, the inventory part. The inventory part, Elizabeth Dilgard, happy birthday, February 11th. The inventory part is, I want you to look at the people around you. And if you've ever done anything for them and they do not celebrate you, there's a problem. There's a problem. Okay, Stephanie just said it. Stephanie Brook 321 on TikTok. She said, I'm always looking out for others and they don't look out for me. They're the problem. They're the problem. Because the question is why is it that you've allowed that without having a healthy conversation? Because if I'm always breaking my neck for you, and I get one day out of the year to celebrate, and I've been there for you, someone said, you better preach. Barbara Fox said, you better preach. Then we have a problem. And if you can't have a healthy conversation or a hard conversation for a healthy connection, then you need to reevaluate your circle and space. Somebody said, you better preach. Stephanie Brooks, 321, she said, you better preach. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Somebody who is under the sound of my voice won't have that conversation because of trauma. Because all you do is you say, I ain't going to say nothing. I ain't going to say nothing. Okay, Jackie Flagg said, that's me. I'm not going to say nothing. You wrong for that. Say something. Say something. I don't have a problem having that kind of conversation. That's your fault. Because even though they have trauma, the truth of the matter is you have been there for them. The truth of the matter is you. Someone said you are dropping mics, fire, gems. Thank you so much, Nicole. The truth of the matter is you have wiped tears and been in their space because of their trauma. You have been selfless. They have been selfish. And you need to have that conversation. And if they get defensive, then you have to reevaluate these type of connections. Because as a friend, I should be able to have hard conversations for healthy connections to see if we should be friends or in a relationship. It's not right. Baby, I don't have a problem having a conversation. I remember one time for my birthday, I said to my husband, he said, what you want for your birthday? I said, I want these chairs, because you guys know I love decorating. I'm decorating. I'm decorating right now as we speak. And so I love decorating. I said, I want these chairs and they're not expensive. I just want these chairs. And he brought the chairs. He brought the chairs a week before my birthday. And then when my birthday came around, it was crickets. You know them little things that rub their legs together? Those bugs. There was no cake. There was no nothing. Let me tell you something. Someone said, this is real. I don't know no other way to be. I said, you better get up. Today is my birthday. Where the hell is my cake? He said, whoa, 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 whoa. You said that you wanted those chairs. And I bought the chairs. I said, you asked me. But where's the honor? That even though you asked me, the honor should be easy because of who I am. Child, let me tell you something that never happened again. And hold on, I gave you a true story. I'm married. Remember, ups and downs, highs and lows, but he ain't going nowhere. Someone said, come on now. Some of you just let things slide. You just let it go. Let me talk to your children for a moment. Even your children, you have to have hard conversations for healthy connections. Where's the honor? Do not allow people to dishonor you because of their trauma. Do not. Okay, Mika_T says, I ain't letting nothing slide no more. Now, she just said that. The Bible says, cast not thy pearls before swine. You are valuable. And it is time for you to let people understand that just because you have trauma doesn't mean that I have to accept it because you had a traumatic experience that had nothing to do with me. Stop allowing people to dishonor you. Forgive them, but put some arm length between the two of you. Because if someone said, I'm over here hollering, Stephanie Brooke 32-1, what you laughing at? Because if you cannot allow them to have an understanding that your trauma and my trauma are from two different perspectives, then how can two walk together unless they agree? That's the Bible. Excuse me, y'all. I have my friend. What do you want? They're all over my house. Some of y'all have to have these conversations. And whether you like it or not, you must have those conversations. I need to know what is going on in your life that you cannot recognize the good in other people. Somebody said, Jesus. Stephanie Clay, I need to know what happened in your life that you are consistently using good people. I need to know what's happening in your life that you can't see the goodness in someone else. I need to know what happened in your life that you can't love yourself and love somebody. I need to know. So talk to me. Because the Bible that I read said, with all thy getting, get an understanding. And so let's get an understanding. I need to know, how come I'm always there for you and you're never there for me? I need to know, why is this relationship one-sided? Why is this marriage one-sided? What's going on? Because clearly something happened. Did I do something? And if you know somebody that got a problem with everybody, then there's more trauma there than what they have told you. Because people who are living in trauma sabotage any good relationship. I'm going to show y'all a book. Excuse me. Hold on. See it? Someone said, my God, today, Renee Williams, Oglesby. See this book? See it? Somebody had to jump in. This is good. I have this book. There is something called boundaries. And if you do not have a conversation about how come you so evil, or have a conversation about, what happened in your childhood. Most people are in relationships with people that had horrible childhoods. And you really don't understand the measure of trauma. They can't be faithful to you. They don't know how to be faithful to you. They are habitual cheaters because they don't know anything. And now it doesn't mean that you got to sit up there and take their foolishness either. But there is something that is causing them to devalue a person who should have been valued. Trauma. How come he can't love me? Do you know it's a horrible feeling to be with somebody and you know they don't love you, but you with them anyway? You can't make them love you, and you're miserable trying to make somebody love you. You're miserable trying to make somebody see you. You're miserable trying to make somebody... No, you're not going another day being miserable. You are going to revamp your space because misery has crept in the circle because someone is dealing with trauma and they don't want to say nothing. Trauma is horrible, but speaking about your trauma is a choice. Okay, I'm not going to read your name, but you just said, this is my husband, which means you're talking about present time, because you did not say this was. You said this is, which indicates he is still your husband. And so the question that I have for you is, have you ever gone to therapy to see what the problem is? Most generational curses is learned behavior because someone had trauma and made you fearful that this is the way you should live because it protects you. No, it doesn't. It will hurt you. One thing about trauma, it gets in your subconscious. It gets in a place that is so embedded in your memory until you'll block it out. And trauma will block out stuff. And it only materializes when trauma is triggered. So when something happened and it triggers your trauma, it shows up from your subconscious because you hit it. You hit it. And that's why people don't heal from trauma, because they're afraid of the trigger. So they live isolated lives. Some say, come on, Pastor. What's up, Diamond? So I am going to ask you to have a heart conversation. You got to have it. You got to have it. You have to say, listen, I realize that something's going on, but I'm tired of wearing myself thin because you have trauma. All right, I'm going to take a couple questions. Jones Cassandra asks, how do you break a trauma bond? She asks, how do you break a trauma bond? She's on Facebook. Stop it. But the first thing you have to do is you have to identify the bond. When you identify the bond that attacks and attracts, you could break it. So a trauma bond is a bond that people are connected to for a specific reason. It's almost like you have groups on Facebook, right? They have hate groups. They have groups of crocheting. You have groups that like cats, groups that like dogs. You have groups. There is something that pulls you all together, that you all can identify the same behavior, the same hobbies, or the same pain. So because we can identify the pain we attract and formulate because of this one situation. It ties us together, and we are bonded together by a brokenness, or we are bonded together for a specific reason. That is the connection. Now, the minute someone heals from that trauma, they can no longer be part of the bond because it was broken. I healed in the area that I was attracted and attached to. That's how you do that. You have to find another tactic, and you will no longer be attached to it. All right. How about trauma in co-parenting relationships? Ambrosia B. Johnson on YouTube. She said, how do you deal with trauma bond in co-parenting relationships? First thing that I need you to write down is everyone has to identify the trauma. If you are co-parenting, then you are co-parenting with a parent because of a child. If you are co-parenting and you guys are divorced or separated, then the only attraction should be the children. So you have to heal in the area for a healthy connection because the bond is the child. So the attraction should never be the attraction. The attraction should only be the children. That we're making sure the children have two parents that can have a connection for the greater good of the child's development. But we're no longer together. So you can't trigger me the way you used to because I'm healed in that area. So when you come around, there should be no trigger because there's no longer any attraction. It's only the children. So you have to work on the trauma, which triggers that there's still something there. So when you go pick up little Deuteronomy and Leviticus, that's a boy and a girl, you won't be triggered by the trauma because you're healed. Here, the children. We don't rock together anymore. But then you have to face the truth. You're no longer connected. And if you guys are still sleeping together, then you're always going to be connected because you won't break the bond. Because intimacy is always a bond, especially when there's an unhealthy connection. You only bound it by sex. So if y'all not knocking each other's back out anymore, sorry for saying this, I'm a real pastor, then there should be no longer a connection, or somebody still want that type of connection. So you have to heal to let go so that you can be there for the children, and that's it. Got that? All right. Someone said, that's good. All right. I got to leave because y'all ain't going to have me here all night because I got Chronicles in the morning. All right. If someone says it sounds messy, it will be a mess if you do not find out, how do I forgive someone that caused your trauma? Do you want to get free? She asked a question. She said, her name is Letitia_Jackson. She's on YouTube. She said, how do I forgive someone that caused your trauma? First of all, biblically, the Bible said, if you don't forgive, that the Father that can do all things won't do all things. God can do anything, but he will not do this. He said forgiveness is so imperative. Until you don't forgive them, then it's going to be very difficult to formulate a relationship of forgiveness with you, which means it is a commandment that we forgive and love. Just because you forgive does not necessarily mean you reconnect. You forgive, but you learn how to release. You forgive them because unforgiveness, as they say, is like you drinking poison waiting for them to die. And anytime you don't forgive, you cause the pain from your past to always show up present in your future because you give them control over your life. Because that's what unforgiveness is. It's giving someone control to rule your life. Why? Because you're triggered by the trauma when they show up, when you hear their name. So you got to forgive them to release you so you can stop holding on to them. So just say, I forgive you. And even though they don't receive it, you receive the forgiveness for yourself and let go of them so that you don't take that trauma into someone else. Forgiveness is the best freedom you could give yourself. So you just do it. I forgive you. And once you forgive them, yes, I'm coming on tomorrow. And once you forgive them, they don't have an opportunity because you have released them from the rule of controlling you. So you kind of take that noose that's around you and you release it. That means you're no longer walking in a Pinocchio or Geppetto mindset. You can't be controlled anymore because unforgiveness will always control you, especially if the person's name or they show up because it triggers your trauma. So when you release them, you'll know how to live better because you're free and liberated. Okay? I gotta go. Okay. Y'all, all right. Y'all doing a lot. Okay. What? Oh, okay. Monica Campbell, 8957. What about your friend leaving you after you were in the lowest place of your life and they ignored you and you've been there for her? I'm going to quote something. Everyone has been quoting, especially since that Nicki Minaj buffoonery. When people show you who they are, believe them. The problem with people like that is you were so busy being a friend to her until you overlook what a bad friend she was to you. Can I say that again? The problem with people is you were so busy being a good friend to her until you overlook how bad of a friend she was being to you because you had trauma, right? You knew what it was to have empathy and sympathy to be there for her. So you were there for her, but you overlooked the fact that several times she was not there for you. But your trauma did not allow you to see. Because trauma would allow you to say, I know how it feels. So I'm gonna be there for her. Even if she's not there for me. Someone say, oh my Lord, my current situation. Hold on, because y'all ain't gonna keep me on here all night. I got Car Chronicles in the morning. So what happened is she's done this several times to you before. You just ignored it. Because you were so busy being a better friend to her because of your trauma. And she lacked being a better friend for you because of her trauma. Y'all never had this hard conversation. I suggest that you have to have this conversation now. At the lowest place of my life, I realize you were not there. And if she gets defensive, you got a problem. That means her motive for the connection was to always be connection because she knew she could depend on you. I believe, someone said, you helping us tonight, Pastor Lady D. I got to get off here. I believe that what happens is you really did not pay attention because you were so busy trying to be there for her. But she has not been there for you. Why? Because she showed you emotional instability by not being there. I promise you, if you sit back and think, could you call her and she pick up the phone? Was it always going to voicemail? She was emotionally unavailable because she was showing you in trickles and in trait. That means she wasn't doing it full throttle. She was doing it once in a while. Can you pick up my kid? Can't do that. Someone said, Jesus, can I call and go? So you were so busy being a better friend to her than she was to you because of your trauma. I know what it is for somebody not to be there for me. I'm going to be there for her. She was doing that all along. Because your trauma, you kept feeding her. And she kept getting bigger. And you were starving and she didn't see it. I would have that conversation. Because if you want her to be your friend, you need to have the conversation. I wouldn't be her friend. I would forgive her. But I would tell her why this can't work. Because she did not handle you right. And if she did it before, she may possibly do it again. One more. Andrea Davis on Facebook. You said, how do you handle trauma from your sister? All right. I'm glad you asked. I am a sister. I am the youngest of, I'm going to say, three. Because it's Joy, Kenya, Jameliah, and then there's Michelle. There's Silver, too. So I'm the youngest of four. My brother's wife is like a sister. And, you know, Ella Michelle and I, we're really siblings. So, and then there's Joy and Kenya. So we fight. Oh, we fight. Someone said, can you please do part two? Nope. Shirley Evans. We fight. And because we fight, I have an understanding about all of my sister's personality. Now, the oldest one, she's a therapist, right? You know, my sister, Dr. Kenya Jameliah, she's a pastor. Ella Michelle, y'all know that. My sister Silver, my brother's wife. So we all fight, but we all know each other's personality. I know when they're all fussing and fighting at each other, right? I know that there's sometimes where Joy will call Kenya, Kenya call Joy, Joy call Silver, Silver call Kenya, Kenya call George, Kenya call Michelle, Michelle. It's just a whole hush posh of emotions. However, I have had trauma from my sisters, and they've had trauma from me. Period. We have physically fought, all of us. All of us. We have physically had altercations. But because of the understanding in the bloodline, we had conversations. So now we have an expectation. What do we do next time? Because we feel that the relationship is worth salvaging. The first thing that you need to do is ask yourself, is the relationship worth saving? And if it is, you have to have that hard conversation for healthy connection. But then you have to ask, why the trauma? What caused the trauma? And is your sister jealous of you, or are you jealous of her? Or did you do something to her, or did she do something to you? The Bible says, with all of your getting, get an understanding. And you just can't identify the trauma. You have to fix the trauma if it's worth saving. And if there is a blessing in your bloodline that is a good, healthy bond, then you have to ask the question, how come you did this to me? Let me get an understanding. Where were you at that time? Were you going through something that you didn't tell me? Help me help you by getting an understanding. Where were you? How do we fix it if it's worth salvaging? Have hard conversations for healthy connections. I gotta go because here comes all of these questions. Someone said, my sister is acting like Cain and I just don't understand why. Cain and Abe, okay. I gotta go, y'all, because y'all trying to keep me on here all day. All day. Someone said, please do part two. Shirley Evans, I'm trying my best. Can I visit y'all? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I'm going to be on here tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. There are people that are saying my sister is jealous of me. If you guys are dealing with sisterhood and your sister is jealous of you or your brother is jealous of you, I am so sorry that this has happened to you. Let me acknowledge that first. However, when you both have the same bloodline, the same lineage, the same DNA, you must have hard conversation. It's Saturday. Yeah, I'll be on here tomorrow. You must have, thank you for that, hard conversations for healthy communications. Sometimes the topic of jealousy is hard to have with a sibling, but you have to have it. But you also should accept that they're never going to say that they are. You just have to allow the way they handle you to be the response. You know it, you feel it, but you don't want to receive it. They're never going to say it, but have the conversation anyway because you're worthy of closure. And some of you won't have any closure. One more, Lord. Elizabeth Dilgard. She said, my mom passed away, so my baby sister blamed me. Elder Stefanetta, would you go on TikTok and get this young lady, please? She said, oh, y'all gonna keep me on here all night. There's a lot to unpack here. It is, Nikki. You said your sister blames you for your mother's death. If I had to have a conversation with you, young lady on TikTok, I would ask, how come you feel like that? At that time, where was your sister? And where were you for her to create such a narrative? Because nobody is responsible for death because we can't control life. And I think there's guilt there. There is an unspoken guilt associated with the trauma of the passing, whether it was timely or not. Was she sick? So my sister was in the streets while I was near my mother's side. So her guilt, there you go. I think Shantae, can I say this, Shantia, if I'm on TikTok? Your sister is dealing with guilt, but your sister is dealing with misplaced anger. She's mad at you because you got the opportunity she missed because she was running the streets. So she has misplaced anger. People always hurt the person that they love. People always hurt the person that's good to them. So there's an undertone of jealousy because you got an opportunity that she missed. So she has misplaced anger at you. You were there. She was not. So she felt like she got robbed, but she's taking it out on you instead of forgiving herself. Got it? So she should be forgiving herself because she made a choice not to be there. Right? So what you have to do is you have to forgive her, love her, but understand her. She's kind of kicking herself. That's not your fault. All right, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Did I answer your question? She said yes, ma'am. I'm out of here. No, no, one more. I gotta go. No, one more. No more. Okay. I gotta go. It's a lot going. Father God, in the name of Jesus, we ask that you would look upon the people here that are dealing with trauma. There are people right now who have misplaced anger. There are people who have issues of jealousy and arrested development and anger and malice and everything. Holy Spirit, I thank you for your wisdom for your people. Now, Lord, I ask that you would do something so phenomenal until their understanding will open up and they will not just forgive other people, that they will forgive themselves, but they will get an understanding. For your word said, with all thy getting, get an understanding. Let them get an understanding that the people they come in contact with are hurting. And even though they're good people, do not allow them to no longer cast their pearls before swine, but let them hold back and give temperament tests to see, as I guard my heart with all diligence, can you be connected healthy to me? Now, Holy Spirit, I thank you for this opportunity to speak to the people. Begin to let them be challenged, not just in their faith, but challenged on how people handle them, that they'll realize that they're worthy to be loved. They're worthy to be nurtured and cultivated. And you will do a new thing in them. Send friends, send loved ones, send relationships, but let them fix themselves to be a better half. So they'll be a better whole and they'll be a better half. Now, Lord, everything that they do in secret, begin to bring it full throttle to their front, that they will face it, not just with their faith, but they would take their fears and they will no longer have an arrested development called trauma, but they'll be ready to handle it so that they could be ready for the world. We thank you and we praise you. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Listen, have a hard conversation for healthy connections, because trauma is a very dangerous thing. And trauma will hurt you, it'll hinder you, it'll block you. But with God, faith, and a therapist, it won't stop you. All right, I'm going to be on here tomorrow for a little bit. I love you. Tell someone about the Car Chronicles. But I want you to have these conversations. In fact, begin to have a dialogue after this and begin to talk to people, because there are people who have misplaced anger. And you're not angry at other people. You might be angry at you. Hear me. Okay. Lady D, she said, I have trauma from my husband who left you homeless and didn't stand up for the wife when people were okay. Oh, girl. All right. I gotta go. It's a lot. I can't answer everything. I'm trying to rest and I'm trying to get myself better because I gotta preach on Sunday. I want y'all to be in church on Sunday, 5323 East Independence Boulevard. For those of you who are gonna do your tithe and offering, go to www.carchronicles.org or $CCM7777. Renee G. Shepherd, how's your daughter? Some of you have traumas from your children, and understand whatever it is, I want you to go get help for it. Get therapy. Everyone needs to talk to somebody. All right, I got to get out of here. Bye. Rah, bye. Good God, y'all ain't gonna keep me on here. I'm going to bed. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. I'm tired. I'm going to bed because I'm tired.